Hey, what's going on, everybody? Bort's Bricks back in the action once again. And a couple things before we start this video. I got two things to say really quick. One, I'm testing my camera quality. I'm messing with some of the settings in my recording app. I just use like a webcam and the camera to like record. So I've been playing around with the quality. Drop a comment down below if you like this more. I changed the resolution so I can get 60 frames a second. It's a little bit lower quality, but I think the 60 frames a second will be better than 30 frames a second with higher quality. So that's one thing. Another thing is that if you see like any of my mess around this side of my room, I'm currently like getting ready for a Vegas trip. I haven't cleanly unpacked from getting back from Sioux Falls. That's just because I need to see what I have and what I don't have. Plus, I'm a little lazy and I don't really want to put stuff away as of now. I've been focusing on YouTube and school starting, so my room's a little bit messy right now, so don't judge me for that either, please. But this is going to be kind of a more like focused video on a small aspect from another video that I watched. We've all probably seen M&R's video about the rumored set prices and potential piece counts for the sets rumored in, I think, the summer wave coming out here. And one thing that really stood out to me is that there's 3 possible sets at the $15 price point. And I know these are all rumored as of now, but I just got to thinking what could possibly be there. Just think it's a fun little idea to kind of speculate and kind of like throw some conspiracy theories around there. So essentially, I made a list of 7 possibilities that LEGO could possibly do, possibly not do. We can all see. There could be a mix of some, there could be none of these at all. I just want to throw some wood into the fire and see if I get any of these right. So without further ado, here are the 7 things that I believe that could possibly fill the price point of $15 in the new LEGO wave. So the first idea is going to be just a continuation of the minifigure packs, also known as blister packs, as some may know. It's probably the safest pick to decide from what like LEGO may re-release. We already had 2 in 2022, as in the Clone Command Station and the Hoth minifig pack, and it could also explain why they retired the set so early. I think they only had like a year long or even less shelf life, as well as they're already discounted on lego.com for 20% off, which is kind of sad but also pretty good. So if you don't have them and you want an army build, pick them up, please. And there have been a few things that I have discussed in previous videos, especially this one right here, where I discussed some kind of quality control management things that LEGO kind of failed at with the Command Station minifig pack. Hopefully with the release of those 2, they kind of get an idea of what works, what doesn't work. So yeah, pushing them to retailers such as Walmart, Target, Toys R Us, stuff like that, if they were still a huge like factor in the LEGO community. But this brings up an interesting point that Ryan brought up in his. You would have to kind of change the packaging. The box for the blister pack is probably one of the best designs of any like product LEGO has made, as well as probably the most like distinguishable and unique ever. But it's also not really all that space efficient. You know, you have a shelf and you need boxes like right here to fill the shelf nice and evenly. So it makes sense they probably would do away with the plastic, because I know LEGO's trying to get away from plastic like boxes, plastic bags, stuff like that. So they'd probably change it to like one of these cardboard boxes, like old school battle packs. Speaking of, just think of this like new minifig pack as those old like battle packs, like the the Geonosis clones, the Kashyyyk clones, stuff like that, where they're $15, except just take away a minifigure. So instead of 4 minifigures for $15, you get 3. That's possibly the most like likely thing to happen, but I have quite a few other ideas that Ryan brought up and I want to expand upon, or some of my own that I think about as well. So without further ado, let's keep going on. Now, the second point is maybe plausible. It's not as likely as the minifig pack. Like I said, the most likely is probably just a continuation of the minifigure packs, but a potential micro fighter like $15 wave might be possible. Like Ryan already brought it up and he does make a few good points, but I think something else could possibly be said about it as well. So essentially there has been, like, when Microfighters initially dropped, there was probably like 3 or 4 releasing a year, and ever since it got to about 2019, I believe, they've only been releasing like 1 or 2 a year, mostly 1, but I think they have a couple of like combo ones as well. So not only are you already seeing a decrease in the total amount of sets released in this line, they might have to increase the price point, which doesn't really make sense, especially concerning when the Slave 1 just dropped to January 1st for $10. But there could be a little bit of reasoning behind it. LEGO did just go through a huge price increase with like almost all of their sets that didn't retire, such as the 501st Battle Pack, stuff like that. So if they do possibly make a 3-set like microfighter lineup, they would probably bump up the price to $15 for the Slave 1, or just keep it $10. More than likely, if they do make a $15 microfighter lineup, they will increase the Slave 1 price. Possibly the Mandalorian's Razor Crest. I couldn't think of the word there for a second. Possibly the Microfighter Razor Crest as well. It'd be unfortunate, especially because when you look at it from this standpoint, where if you do have to increase the price of these Microfighter sets, they are essentially competing with former sets with 3 minifigures for $15, as in the blister packs, the Command Station, and the Hoth Rebel Troopers. Now, you're taking away 2 minifigures, and you're essentially giving them a smaller set for the same price. Instead of 3 minifigures, you're getting 1. So I just don't really see the logic behind it if it was $15. But like I said, LEGO's been making some questionable decisions lately, so I won't put this out of the realm of possibilities. So I just want to put that out there as point number 2. Point number 3 is very like in line with the last one, so I'm just going to kind of briefly cruise over this one. A lot of what I already said is going to be applicable here as well, as in like price increases and stuff like that. So brickheads have been getting absolutely popular within the LEGO community, especially because of like the Ahsoka one up there. Tusken Raiders is going to be a huge seller as well, because everyone knows what a Tusken Raider is, even if you're not a huge fan of LEGO. So they're just kind of growing some steam right here. But the same thing would be applicable here compared to the other point about the microfighters. We just had the Tusken Raider drop January 1st, so if they do release 1, 2, 3 even, maybe brickheads, they'd have to increase the price of the Tusken Raider brickhead. Unless they're doing some like bigger brickhead, I don't think it's likely to get them, even though I feel like brickheads going to $15 and getting 3 sets here is more likely than getting 3 microfighters in the summer wave, but I still just think there's a very slim chance of these happening. Now, I have to give Ryan almost 100% of the credit for this idea. I would have never thought of this if he didn't bring it up, but I kind of want to expand upon it as well. It would be the idea of LEGO Star Wars getting the Marvel mechs from their wave, and it could be possible, but I just see this going so wrong compared to my other ideas that I brought up as well. The thing I can kind of relate to these are like the buildable figures, where they were, I think, $15, $20. I never paid attention to them. I don't think we all did, so the price is escaping me as of now, but they never sold well. They were in store clearance racks for quite a while, like year, maybe 2, maybe even 3 years after they all retired. So they just didn't sell all that well, and I just feel like the mechs would go the same way. I wouldn't put it out of the realm of possibilities. A Luke Skywalker mech would be a good way to get a cheap minifigure that a lot of people may not have, especially if it's like some version that we haven't had either in a while or at all. Essentially, the only way I can really see these working out to the like way or extent LEGO really wants them to work out would be putting high demand LEGO figures into this cheap $15 price point. And I know some of the fans may get mad at this idea, but you'd have to hear me out for the logic. If you have this cheap set that you don't think is going to sell well, you're going to have some draw to it. So like, let's say everyone's been demanding a Captain Rex figure for, I think it's been about 8 years, but you have to have some draw to the set. So these high value minifigures would kind of make sense. So if you can make like a Captain Rex mech, stuff like that, it could possibly work where you can buy them just for the figures, but then at that point, why don't we just get like a blister pack with like 3 of them? I couldn't tell you. It's just an idea that Ryan brought up, and I kind of thought of that point as well, but I don't think they would sell well. This one's kind of a broad overview, and you could kind of interpret it in a few different ways, but I highlighted 2 different ways in this point. So point number 5, it could be smaller sets, as in it can contain a vehicle or like a small piece of scenery for about the $10-15 price point. Think of like a walker, speeder, like the Octoptara droid right there. And like, take reference to the 60312 police car set or the 60322 race car set. And it's possible, but I just don't think LEGO would do this. The niche is already there for stuff like this with the battle packs, get a small build and a few figures. So I don't see it happening there, but I could also see it where you can only get like 2 figures in a small build just to lower that price point even further. But also, like I said, for my Microfighter point, I don't see why you would spend $15 on 2 figures opposed to $15 for 3 figures in the minifigure pack. One thing that I did think of, though, which I don't really see LEGO doing, but I think this is actually a really, really good idea. And it comes from Mega Constructs, the boogeyman in the LEGO community, in my opinion. Essentially, they have a Halo lineup of their own building blocks, and they have the armory sets where they can get a bunch of like accessories, unique figures, stuff like that. And I think that's a great idea. Essentially, think of it like if you get a clone armory pack, you can get like 1 or 2 minifigures, and then it comes with like several hair pieces, several helmets, like helmet attachments, different cloth pieces as in the comma or the pauldrons, different weapons, stuff like that, different backpacks, just essentially all these accessories that you could army build with to add diversity to the looks of your clones or your armies in general. So there's that. I think that would be amazing idea right there. Like I said, I don't think LEGO would do it because it's just a little out there, but that's just something I think would be a good idea. Not only that, it would also allow us to get a cheap price range for unique figures that wouldn't really be like made, such as the 327th Star Corps or the Camino Shock Troopers. As I referenced in that video right there, I didn't really have a reason to like think LEGO would make these figures, but if you do like an armory build, you can put anything in there just because it's a small set just with a bunch of accessories. Especially with that accessory point, I think the 327th would be a perfect fit for this because they have so much like uniqueness in their armor. But like I said, if you get like a unique figure in this, LEGO fans might not be super like happy about it, because if we get a Captain Rex in this, we probably won't get Captain Rex's Y-Wing, and that's a huge demand right now. Just something to keep in mind. Out of everything I've said so far, I think this is the very least likely to say to think this would happen. And I think it's just a cool like topic for discussion in my opinion, because it has happened in the past, but I just don't think LEGO Star Wars is going to follow this trend. So possibility number 6, kind of an idea to return to a few like shelved ideas, such as like the Planet series, mini sets, stuff like that. And I think they would sell somewhat decent. I don't think they'd sell as well as LEGO would like, but it would be a nice little like homage or a cool cheap way to get unique figure 1, 2, 3, stuff like that. Or if you don't have enough space to put like the UCS Millennium Falcon, or you want to have like a cheap alternative to bring to work, you can have like I believe it's the 4488 Millennium Falcon or the 4490 Republic gunship, where they're not exactly like polybag small, but they're not like midi scale big where they were like 40 or 50 bucks. It's just a small like desktop where it's probably like yay big, stuff like that. And I think it would be a cool idea to bring back, but like I said, I just don't think it's possible. They really retired for a reason. They just they came and went. They were popular, they were not. So I just think it'd be a cool idea to get like the cheap figures, a cool build, and a planet just for... The thing is, no one knows what to do with the planet besides to have it as the planet, so... I know that, like, some guy, I can't remember the name, but he put, like, some of the planets in, like, a Flushamuk, I think? But that's the only use of the pieces I've seen. So, you can't really do a lot other than just have it sitting there, but a thought's a thought, so... And The last idea, this is going to be the most vague, and I won't count it out because Lego does try things. And it's just honestly just the designers are going to think of something completely new and random that's going to either work or not. And honestly, that's probably a good thing, even if it doesn't work personally for the fans. If we hate the idea, it at least shows that Lego's willing to try something new. And I'm thinking of making another video kind of rebounding off this point, but I don't know if they're going to play it safe like they have been quite a bit lately, or if they're going to try something new. I couldn't tell you. They've been making a few improvements like the Commander Cody, stuff like that. They finally did that. But they're also playing it safe with a lot of reasons, releasing the TIE Fighter, the X-Wing, all this stuff, year in and year out. So I think change would be amazing. Think about like the Helmet series, dioramas, stuff like that, where they're unique and they haven't really been done before, and they've worked. We're getting another lineup of dioramas here. We're on our second or third wave of Helmet series, and they're hugely popular, especially because battle packs were that idea at one point. Think about how, I mean, I have 6 unopened battle packs right here, and I just bought 3 of the new ones. That is probably the best idea Lego has ever came up with, besides like UCS sets or stuff like that, or direct to consumers like sets. So if they don't try, like, think about Lego in like 2004, 2005. That's probably when they started designing the battle pack and like designing the clones for it. If they never took that chance, we would never have these army building stuff. Sets like the 2009 Clone Walker, the 2014 or 15 like Utapau Troopers, Geonosis Troopers, Kashyyyk Troopers wouldn't be here. This wouldn't be here if Lego didn't take that risk. So I think it would be beneficial for them to try something new, but I just have no idea if they will. And with that was 7 ideas that Ryan and I kind of came up with. I loved that video that he produced, so I just thought I'd expand upon the topic just a little bit more. So I got to give credit where credit's due. This idea was 100% inspired by that video. I will post a thumbnail of that right there, as well as a link to it down below. If you haven't watched it, I 100% recommend watching it. And if you're not subscribed to Ryan somehow, please do. He is probably the best Lego YouTuber out there with his blunt honesty and stuff like that. So please just support him. But anyways, thank you all for watching. This has been Bort's Bricks signing out again. Stay cool, stay awesome. Have a good one.